Hangout podcast where three bearded film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time. My name is Luke Condor and I'm joined by a Mr.
Ben Errington. I thought Andy was going to jump in then, but snap.
And another Mr.
Andy
Mr.
Turner. Hello, everybody.
How are we doing? It's 2021.
Hello.
Yeah, we made it.
2021.
First episode?
We
This is the
made
first
it.
film. This is the first film
First
episode,
film.
right?
Yeah, because the best of last year came out this year.
This year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless
Still
you're listening in the future, in which case it came out in a different year to both of those. I think we're covered.
Just check the
Yeah,
date of this podcast if you're confused, Can be confusing.
Yeah. Everyone been all right? Everyone been doing anything?
Yeah.
No? Up to nothing?
Yeah,
What do you know? That's what my dad always said. What do you know?
What do you know? Or what don't you know?
Yeah,
It's just, what do you know? I feel like I get all nervous when somebody asks me that. I don't know anything, honest. Nothing.
Yeah. The right answer is not much. No, not much.
It's pretty much not much. Yeah, that is the right answer. But yeah, not much because lockdown and I guess trying to have some sort of routine in the lockdown to stop yourself, just eating crisps and watching Peep Show and going to bed 4 times a day.
Crisps are so easy to eat though as well, because they're a snack, so it doesn't feel like you're eating a lot, but you can get through an entire multi-pack quite quickly.
Family size bag. I always feel like I know when my end point is on a family size bag. It's like that halfway, but then I think, oh no, just 10% more. But then by the time I do 10% more, I go, well, I've eaten most of them now. I might as well finish them.
Just finish them. There are some crisps, though. It really depends on the type of crisp you're going for. Have you ever had they don't sell them in normal bags. You only get them in like the share bags. They're by the party food in the supermarket. You have your cheese puffs, you have your salt and vinegar chipsticks, and the little Twizzles, and then you get the ready salted unfinishable splinters. The little splinters of ready salted.
Yeah, they're horrible.
You can never finish them because
they're horrific.
Because there'll come a point they'll just miss your mouth and scatter to the 4 corners of your house.
I don't know if I've had those splinters.
Unfinishable splinters. I'm not sure what their official name is.
They should be called that. That sounds great.
They're just like stuff a carpenter's got on the floor of his workshop. They don't look like they should be consumed, but they're pretty good.
There's a factory there just full of like crisp sculptures made of crisp, and that's all the shavings from them. Unfinished.
Right. That's how it works. I mean, crisps as a meal, I think is fine sometimes if you're
Crisp sandwich.
In a rush, if you're not feeling great, if you're feeling like you just want to, not really up to cooking.
Crisp sandwich is great. I'll tell you what. I'll raise you on that front, Luke. Get yourself a Monster Munch wrap now.
Jesus.
Well, crisp wrap is another option always. Have you ever had a council burger? It's like 3 slices of toast, but the middle slice of toast is soaked in beef gravy. And then you put a bit of ketchup on that. It's a council burger. If you want a council chicken burger, you use chicken gravy. Get a glass of council pop to wash it down. It's like going to McDonald's on the cheap.
Council pop is just tap water, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds great, but at the same time, also depressing.
Council burgers, we used to have that a lot when we were students. It's nice.
Did you
might be
invent
having that tomorrow?
It sounds like something you might have invented.
No, someone else told me about it. A friend called Rob, he bestowed the council burger to me. He cooked me one once. He invited me around and we had a bottle of cheap cider and a council burger between us.
See what
not even one each.
When we're out of lockdown, maybe that'll be our celebration meal. The 3 of us will get together somewhere.
Yeah.
That's what we'll have. We'll have a lovely meal.
Yeah.
That sounds horrible, but I'm up for it,
It's nice.
It sounds lovely, I'm only joking. It sounds lovely. It sounds very lovely.
Well, I wouldn't say it's not lovely. It's nice. It's nice. It's not going to change your world.
Right.
Yeah. Any news on the horror front?
Got a couple of news bits. So there's a trailer for the TV show. I haven't watched it yet, so I feel really bad that I'm about to just mention it. I've not seen the trailer, but for the CBS series all about Clarice Starling. And it takes place 1 year after The Silence of the Lambs. It's on CBS. It's going back to 1993. So it's Rebecca Breeds, does she? Will star as Clarice Starling and a few other people. It doesn't look like any major. Actually, Paul Krendler, that's the FBI guy, isn't it? There's an Agent Clark. Doesn't look like there's any cannibals in it, but maybe they'll add a few. But yeah, that sounds good. Is anyone interested in seeing more of this?
Yeah, I guess so.
First I've heard. Although when you said like the title, I thought you were actually saying the title was All About Clarice. That was the name.
Yeah.
All About Clarice,
like
and it's
like a rom-com.
Or like it's a follow-up to. I'm going to say her name wrong. Clarice explains it all. Exactly.
So the synopsis here. Clarice explains it all, and she does. She really does.
Turns out Ferguson was the killer all along.
She can have a southern accent because if you remember, Julianne Moore, like in the films, like she was in Hannibal, wasn't she? She kind of like started off doing the accent a bit, and then by the end of the film, she's like, I can't be asked with this shit. This is effort.
I don't remember much about the Hannibal stuff. I haven't seen Silence of the Lambs in a long time. Maybe when we did it on the podcast.
Did we do it on the podcast?
I feel like it would have been on the list, the top 50 list.
I don't think it was, but I think we're getting to a point now, and I think we've noticed it while discussing episodes recently, is that we've done so many episodes now that we're starting to forget episodes we've done. Whereas before, I think I had quite a solid list in my head of what we have done and haven't done. Now I'm starting to forget. I don't think we've done Silence of the Lambs, but
I think there's, with the exception of maybe the Alien franchise, you've done like a scant few like franchise sequels as well. I don't think there's that many.
No, I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
There'll come a time though. We'll do Season of the Witch.
Yeah, that'd be good. So there's that. I've also seen the Creep director Patrick Bryce, his Netflix horror movie There's Someone Inside Your House has got a plot synopsis. So
about what's his name? The Duplass brother. Is it about Mark Duplass? He's inside someone's house.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to spoil it. So apparently, Makani Young has moved from Hawaii to a quiet small town in Nebraska to live with her grandmother. And then she begins getting stalked by a serial killer or a killer intent on exposing her darkest secrets to the entire town, terrorizing victims while wearing a lifelike mask of their own face. What, their own face or her face? I don't know. That doesn't make sense. If it was a lifelike mask of their own face, you'd be like, "What?"
I recognize it. Or maybe it's hiding in plain sight. So if you had a very lifelike Ben Errington mask,
if it's so lifelike though,
that's not going to be
you
Ben.
You won't be able to tell. Yeah, but if it's lifelike, you will not be able to tell it's actually a mask.
I imagine it's lifelike, but like twice the size. That's what I'm imagining.
Like in that Shia LaBeouf cannibal video.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that could be interesting. I think that's coming out in 2021. That's all we've got. Nothing else. Sorry. You guys liked Creep and Creep 2, though, right?
Yeah.
Did very much. Are they still doing a third one?
Peach Fuzz. Don't know. No idea. Bad news for Jared Leto fans is Morbius has been delayed until the 8th of October 2021. Bloody hell, yeah, I know. I can't remember when it was originally supposed to be coming out, but it feels like that has been coming soon for a long, long time. I think I remember seeing a trailer. I think the trailer for that was a year ago.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm that excited about it, but I will watch it.
Yeah.
I actually thought if it's in the Venom universe, which I guess it might be,
Venomverse.
I quite liked Venom. I thought it was all right. It wasn't amazing, but it was fine.
Venom was fine. I'm more excited if they're, putting more stuff back in the Marvel stuff. But I'm sure he's a nice guy. But I've not been the biggest fan of a lot of Jared Leto stuff, particularly that kind of stuff. Like I've heard he's very good in other things, but wasn't a huge fan of his Joker.
He's in a new movie called The Little Things. Have you heard of that?
No.
Which is about two cops tracking down a serial killer, and I think Jared Leto might be the serial killer, and the cops are Denzel Washington and Rami Malek.
Okay.
So just in defense of Jared Leto, Requiem for a Dream It is one of my favorite films. He's fantastic in that. Like, he's really, really good. So, have you seen it, Andy?
No, I've not seen Requiem for a Dream. Like, I think it's just one of those things. Like I say, nothing against him personally, and I don't instantly think like when Morbius was him, I didn't think like bad.
Oh God!
But
he definitely.
But, like, he's not on the other side of things where, you know, sometimes you'll see something's got somebody in it, and you think, oh great, I like everything they see in them. Like, he's got an inconsistent record for me, but I'll still go and see it. Like you say, I'm gonna go.
I like him, but some of his performances are sometimes so close to being bad. Like Blade Runner 2049, for example. Like, his whole shtick in that is like not massively interesting, but it's very close to being hammy, and it doesn't quite go over the line. But it's almost that it's uncomfortable to watch, I feel.
I worry I've been maybe tainted by some of the stories of like some of the on-set antics, you know, this whole method thing when they were doing Suicide Squad. It's like, oh, just fuck off, just pretend you're that character.
Yeah, just pretend. I feel like that was, you know, that almost felt like it was for the press rather than him actually. It was almost like everyone enjoying that was for the press, but who knows? He's 49 years old. That's crazy.
Sounds about right. Well, maybe I would have gone for 45, but it's not that far off.
Yeah, but still, he's the ageless stranger. Except he's not a stranger. We all know who he is.
Well, I'll see it. I'll see it when it comes around. It's not the one I'm most excited about. My experience with the character Morbius is mostly from the Spider-Man cartoon, I guess.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Where he used to suck blood through his hand.
Through his hands. Yeah, for Saturday morning friendly ratings.
Even if he had those sharp teeth. What's he got them for?
Didn't need them.
They're just for show. That was literally it. And the last bit of news I got here is Resident Evil is a showcase for next week. So the games. On 21st of January, there's going to be a Resident Evil Village trailer and first ever gameplay reveal. So put that in your bloody diaries. So it's 10 p.m. on January the 21st UK time.
PS5, right? It's not going to be cross.
Yes. I'm pretty sure it's just PS5. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about any potentially to PS4, so I'm pretty sure. But then again, I'd rather it was that. You know.
Yeah.
You got a decent enough computer to play games on, Luke, or no?
Maybe soon. Building a PC at the minute, or we're
in
the process.
Very exciting. There we go. So that's that. Apart from that, has anybody seen anything this week?
No, news-wise, nothing. I've got something to look forward to. That Medium is out on the Xbox next week, maybe. Mm-hmm. That one that like runs in those two It's got like a Silent Hilly vibe where there's a normal world and horrible nightmare world, and the game runs in parallel. You can switch between them. Looks pretty good. Looking forward to playing that.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
That's cool. I've been playing a lot of Mad Max, which came out a few years ago, which isn't horror, but it definitely has some moments that are quite horrific. If you're into the Mad Max vibe of the films, it's pretty much spot on. I'm really liking it.
It's open world though, right?
Yeah, you like your open world stuff, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
I think what I've realised is with open world games, is if I start, because you have like loads of stuff like checklists to do, if I start working through them like they're a shopping list, I get really bored really quick. But if I just sort of don't worry about that, I just drive somewhere and get lost and sort of find my own little adventure. That's the part of open world games that I really do like.
Yeah, do what you got to do, innit? Some people like checking everything off and collecting everything. Other people just like the exploration. I like the choice. It's good.
Yeah. And you've been playing Doom. You finished it, right?
Yeah. So I finished Doom. I might get the Ancient Gods now. Did you get the Ancient Gods, Andy?
No, I haven't yet. I might reinstall it and get it.
I think it still seems to be like $15.99 or something. So I'm not sure how many hours worth of stuff is there, but
I might wait for a cheeky sale because they always come on. They always come on to sales, usually moments after I bought it. So I might wait until I definitely see it on one. I will get it because it was a great game. Yeah,
there's loads of bits I want to do anyway. I want to go and collect everything and go back and play the missions. There's like a multiplayer mode which kind of seems all right. I had a few goes on it, seems kind of interesting. You could be demon characters. So yeah, loads of stuff I can do and collect before I get bored of that, I think.
I did the collecting. I just didn't do the haven't done any multiplayer, but I collected all the gubbins and did all the challenges.
I should have done it the first time I played through, because I'm going back to levels to literally collect like one thing.
Yeah, I did it as I went through, or if I missed a level, I did that level straight away, just to make myself have like less fun before I'm allowed to move on. I've got to eat your greens before you have your mains.
Well, you can fast travel when you get to the end of the level, anyway, can't you? So, got to eat your greens. Has anybody watched anything this week?
Not this week. I did a big catch up just before, because I know I had to jump from the episode of the year last year at the last minute, but I'd done loads of catching up because I figured we got to the end of the year and my 2020 had been a lot of watching older stuff, and I'd missed out on quite a lot of the news, mostly because release schedules and where it had been and all that. So I just had a real blitz of blasting through a load of 2020 stuff. So I did like Possessor and Wolf of Snow Hollow and a ton of other stuff in like the last week. But talked about all those last week. Good times.
Yeah, we did. We did read your list out on the episode as well.
I did, listening in.
So there you go, man. Always with us in spirit.
Yeah.
How about you guys? Anything else, or did you burn yourself out with a year's worth?
No, I watched a couple of things. Watched His House again for a movie night thing. I'm quite liking watching films twice. Like nowadays, you tend to just watch, because you've got so much choice. You tend to just watch something once and then move on to the next thing. But I don't know. I feel like you appreciate stuff a lot more if you watch it a second time. That being said, I didn't enjoy it as much as the first time, but it's still a good film. Also watched on Shudder. They've got like a low budget black comedy horror crime thing called Fingers. I got lured in by the cool poster. It's about a woman whose colleague keeps showing up to work with more and more missing fingers on his hand. And it's like being cut off. Like, so it's like a nub, like a scraggle of bone, and it's bleeding and that kind of thing. And then she's like completely freaked out by it. Like she can't handle, for example, when she was buying some donuts at the start of the film, and when she saw that the person serving her had like a birthmark on her hand, as soon as she walked out of the shop, she threw him away. Like she's got like a weird like thing with like body thing. So when this guy turns up with like missing fingers, she it sort of takes her on a journey to find out why he's missing those fingers, and it's pretty crazy, it's pretty bizarre, but pretty fun as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. What about you, Andy? Oh, or even Ben, even.
I've only really watched a couple of things this week. I watched Promising Young Woman, the Kerry Mulligan film. Is directed by Emerald Fennell, who I don't know much about her, but I think she did Fleabag. I think somebody told me she did Fleabag.
Related to Fleabag, okay.
So this is like I didn't see the trailer, but from all of the marketing for it, I saw it as like it's a woman who's experienced some sort of trauma in her past, and now she's getting revenge on the men responsible through various different ways. And it's a bit more nuanced than that. Performances are really good. Like, it's a really good, solid film. Bo Burnham is in it, which is...
Bo Burnham's in it?
Yeah, he's like the lead. Well, not the lead, but obviously Kerry Mulligan's the lead, but Bo Burnham's like the next big character. Alison Brie, Clancy Brown. So it's a really solid cast. But it kind of... I wanted it to lean heavier into like the nasty side that it kept like hinting at. And for me, I was like, that might make it a bit of a predictable revenge film, but I felt like it needed to go somewhere else other than where it did. Just a bit unsatisfying in a way, but then maybe like I was expecting it to be something else. I think it just, in terms of the story it's trying to tell and the discussions on regarding trauma, it kind of does enough without needing to really go full blood and guts and gore revenge film. But yeah, I just felt like it was lacking a certain something.
Yeah,
sounds right. Might give it a little watch.
Yeah,
what's it on? Is it on VOD now, or?
I think it's on demand now. I think it might be on demand. like tomorrow on Prime, possibly. I think I saw that listed somewhere. But yeah, Bo Burnham. Like when he turned up, I was like, "What is Bo Burnham doing in this?" And then as he was, and a few scenes in, I was like, "He's really good. He is really
Bo
good."
Burnham's good at everything. Like
yeah.
So easily. I remember watching those early YouTube videos. I can't remember what the songs were here. When he was like 13 or something, and they were like really quite intelligent math raps and stuff. Yeah, he's just one of those guys. He can do anything. Yeah. He can probably fly to the moon if he wants to.
Yeah, he's great there. And the only other thing I saw was there was a Netflix limited series about the Yorkshire Ripper. I don't know if you
I've seen that. It's on my.
You saw it
on my list.
You haven't seen it? It's on your list. Okay. So I think Netflix have had a couple of true crime things pop up recently. So the Ripper, and I think there's one about the Night Stalker as well. I
saw that today just before we were having our dinner. Yeah. Didn't sit and watch the Night Stalker at dinner time, but
so that's about that's like the killer in LA, isn't it? And like the Ripper show, like I feel like I kind of know all there is to know about the Yorkshire Ripper. I've seen Red Riding. Did you guys see that, the 3-parter with like Andrew Garfield and Sean Bean, and like proper bleak northern drama. But yeah, this kind of like highlights the like misogyny and like incompetence of the police and the press that kind of went alongside it. And initially, like the first few episodes, it doesn't really mention it, but after a while, as things sort of like unravel, you realize that just how bad things were, and the fact that they probably could have caught him a lot quicker than they did if the police weren't just like going, "Oh, he's only killing prostitutes," when in fact he wasn't. He happened to target a few prostitutes. Apparently a few of them weren't even prostitutes, but the press still reported it as they were prostitutes. So yeah, big old shit show, but still quite interesting. Like to see, there's a lot of families of the victims as well who get to have a say, which is quite interesting. But yeah, if you like your true crime stuff, you can see how they've kind of like tried to aim it at an American audience a little bit, because even in the opening credits, they've got like a map of the UK and it goes London and then it goes West Yorkshire. So it's trying to say not everywhere in the UK is like in London or next to London.
Harold Shipman is the most successful serial killer, right? Like ever. That's on record.
The way you say that,
that's what they say. Like he was in the
serial killers, because there are lots of people that you might not even work out because of the way he was doing things. Yeah. Isn't he from round your way, Luke?
Manchester.
Went to school in Nottingham, didn't he?
Did he? Oh, that's weird. I think he was in Manchester area practicing killing and succeeding.
Yeah, I was going to say practicing it and following through and doing it as well. So I think Peter Sutcliffe murdered 13, but like was potentially linked to a few more attacks. Nasty bastard though, just used to attack people with a hammer.
I think Shipman was in the hundreds.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Jokes on them though, both dead. So
250.
250. Jesus.
I think he's the most successful serial killer of all time. That's sort of caught and known of. But who knows?
I'm going Night Stalker next, I think, just because I'm not like a proper true crime. I'm not like obsessed with podcasts and watching everything, but every now and again I'll watch a little documentary about a serial killer. It's
interesting to know like how they were caught and the trials and things like that and the evidence that goes behind it. It's good to some interesting stuff.
I find it a bit difficult to stomach sometimes. Like when like horror movies are fine, but there's something I really can't, when someone's been taken and like tortured or kept somewhere, it just really kind of hurts me in a way. Like the amount of pity I feel for that person who's in that sort of horrible position.
I guess it's strange
because of then it's all right.
I guess it's because of the timing as well, isn't it? And like obviously horror's one thing, but I know you're getting into that for entertainment. I guess it's strange when a story, and to a degree, when it's like the style that is built into, as you say, Ben, like to draw in those audiences with a bit of drama, when it's that applied to a real story, I guess then it can go one of two ways. Either it can be a really interesting thing anyway, but then sometimes if it leans too hard into the entertainment side, you're like, is this okay?
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's everything that surrounds it, and it's just looking at how different authorities and everybody kind of reacts to these things, and the fact that like the press don't help really, they sort of create such a circus around it that the criminal, that the murderer is usually thriving off of. And it's almost like that is just making the whole situation so much worse. And it's kind of like the fascinating stuff that goes alongside that, I guess, as well as obviously the terrible crimes that these people commit. But yeah, it's just sometimes there's so many like random, like this is random, right? This is super random. All the random little details that like go alongside these things, and you think like, what? So, I mean, I don't really watch Coronation Street, but I know an actor called Bruce Jones who plays Les Battersby. Don't know if you remember him from Coronation Street, like in the 90s. I recognize him because I think I've seen him on like reality shows and stuff. He discovered one of the Yorkshire Ripper's victims' bodies. He just randomly appeared in this show, and I was like, hang on a minute, what is Les Battersby doing on this show? Like, what is going on? And he discovered one of the Yorkshire Ripper's victims' bodies, and I'm like, that is just so bizarre. It's just those little details like that. We're just like, are we living in a what's the word?
Before you know it, in 10 years' time, Ben, you'll be watching the documentary. Turns out Tony from Hollyoaks is the one that dug up Fred West's patio.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, he's never left Chester. Tony from Hollyoaks. He's never left there. He's always had a restaurant or some sort of business.
He's not discovering anything anywhere apart from in Chester.
Les Battersby. I've not thought about that face for
exactly.
years.
That's like what's so weird, because as soon as he appeared, it had like a sort of harrowing picture of him, like obviously thinking about it before his name popped up. So he's going like that, and I think, hang on a minute, what is Les Battersby from Coronation Street doing on this show? But yeah, he found one of the victims' bodies. That's a fact that I'm gonna, every time someone mentions Yorkshire Ripper, I'm gonna have that fact ready to go at any time. Even for people who don't know who he is, I'm going to be like, Google him, you'll recognize him.
You'll have a map that shows where it is in relation to London. And how...
Yeah. There we go. That's it, though. Nothing else.
Yeah. And then watched probably the most hyped up film ever on this podcast, in the sense of, is it a movie? Is it a horror movie?
Is it even a movie?
Is it a sci-fi adventure? Still not entirely sure. I mean, IMDb has it as action, adventure, mystery. That's probably about right. I think, and then horror maybe. But we'll...
Can we go back to like the very beginning of who and when and why?
Can't remember.
Was suggested, and why was it like? Not that I've got a problem with that. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed watching this movie this time around.
I don't remember where it came up. Maybe we put it in one of the early film club suggestions. I know I've had a Congo question for you in every single quiz, Ben.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure where it came from. Did we just ask a question of is it or is it not a horror movie? I know a couple of guys like I know John Crinan and Ben Scape in the group both join in on the
Ben has a
nice
t-shirt,
Congo Bants. He does have a t-shirt.
Ben does have exactly. So it's been going on for a while, because that t-shirt's been around for quite a long time. I think somebody just mentioned we should do Congo, and I think I said, well, no, we shouldn't, because it's not horror. And then someone said, well, it is. And then
I liked it. Forgotten which side of the argument I was on.
Yeah.
I've always argued that it was, mostly because Ben argued that it wasn't. Was it after we did Monkey Shines that we talked about Congo? Maybe because that's a horror film, because it bursts out of his chest in the end.
I did Google monkey horror movies, and if you do Google monkey horror movies, Monkey Shines is obviously the big one. I thought there would be more.
There's not many. There's not a huge amount. Things
like Planet of the Apes and King Kong and you know, Rise of the Planet of the Apes is listed here. But when you Google monkey horror movies, just monkey horror movies, one of the films that pops up alongside Congo is Dunstan Checks In. Do you remember that film?
You're tackling the horror of running a hotel.
Is that so? Basically, if we've done Congo, we should do Dunstan Checks In. ASAP, maybe next week.
Yeah, I mean, there's a criminal in Dunstan Checks In, as far as I remember. That British guy is robbing the jewels.
Yeah.
So there's crime. There's an ape. The guy who runs the hotel, he's got a horrible boss. He's at the threat of losing his job like that all the time. He's a single dad. Lots of horrific things.
I didn't realize you knew so much about Dunstan
Neither
Checks
did
In.
I until I just started to pull facts from my mind.
So we discussed Shakma as well, didn't we? I watched that alongside Monkey Shine. So there's a killer baboon.
Oh yeah.
In like a high-rise building. But things that are listed alongside it are like Planet of the Apes, which I guess it's sort of like a post-apocalyptic, weird parallel universe thing. That kind of counts, doesn't it? There's a film called Link, which is on a list here, but I don't really know what that's about. It's got a picture of a chimpanzee in a shirt. So I don't know if a man turns into a chimpanzee or something.
Oh, surely that's it. They've solved it. The missing link. You know that picture you get where people go from monkeys to cavemen.
That's why it's called Link.
That's the link, isn't it? It's still a monkey, but he's wearing a shirt.
Yeah, he ain't got any bottoms on there, I don't think. He's
that's when you're man. By the time you've got trousers, that's the difference.
Yeah.
In that case, then, what's it called? Altered States. He turns into a monkey, doesn't he? He takes a drug and turns into a monkey.
Yeah.
Look.
Jumanji.
Let's have a look. I haven't thought about Altered States for a hell of a long time.
Altered States is pretty good.
What's the name of it? Oh, Jesus Christ! Some of these, it turns into like a
Neanderthal man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So Congo does come up when you Google horror movie. Well, that's what my point is. Congo does come up, but Dunstan Checks In also does. So that's all I'll say.
Is this the time we announced that we're going to do our first ever Patreon bonus episode, and we'll do Dunstan Checks In for that?
Well, yeah, that sounds good to me. Oh yeah, Jesus Christ, that like a seven-eyed
from Altered States. We should do Altered States at some point. That's got some weird imagery in it.
Yeah, man, sounds good. What for that?
Congo.
For now, we're going to discuss Congo. So, Congo is a 1995 American science fiction action adventure in brackets horror film, loosely based. It says loosely based, but I'm pretty sure it's exactly the same as the book on Michael Crichton's 1980 novel of the same name. Picture was directed by Frank Marshall, so he did Arachnophobia.
That's
starring Laura Linney,
horror film.
Dylan Walsh, Ernie Hudson, Joe Don Baker, and Tim Curry. When an expedition to the African Congo ends in disaster, a new team is assembled to find out what went wrong. What went bloody wrong?
Yeah, so IMDb have it at 5.3 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes says it at 22% critic score, 29% audience score. Letterboxd is at 2.4. A couple of choice reviews here. Elis on January 6th, 2021. But honestly, this shit was more entertaining than Citizen Kane. 5 stars. And not too long ago. Flim Flam Films on the 27th of August 2020 put Conno half a star.
You're what a piece of work.
Flim Flam
Conno.
Yeah. So it's I mean, not massively favoured. I don't think this film is. But I have a lot of fond memories for it. I think I watched it at least 10 times growing up.
I think I saw it at the pictures. I was riding that Jurassic Park high. And even though I think at the time, Michael Crichton, at the time, I'd maybe attempted the audio book, but I was a kid. I ain't tackling a Michael Crichton book properly. And then Congo was the next film, and I know they marketed it super heavily on strap in, lads. This is the next Michael Crichton one. And I saw it at the cinema. Yeah. What a time.
In your young mind, were you like, well, this is as good, if not better, than Jurassic Park?
No, not much. It's not as good as Jurassic Park, because
Not
you look
now.
at the
I mean, when
hierarchy.
you were a kid.
No, even as a kid, on the hierarchy of things, what's better than dinosaurs when you're a kid? Not gorillas. Certainly not.
That's true. There's not that much visual spectacle in this, not compared to
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
they're pretty exciting growing up.
Yeah.
But not.
I still liked it.
Yeah. I love this film. Like, I've seen it loads growing up. Like, my mum has got so much love for it. Like, all I had to do was text her. I'm watching Congo, and she just fired like about 10 quotes at me. So she knows it so well.
I got that as well. I'm not sure if you guys saw this. I know normally when we're watching the film ahead of a recording like this, most of us will tend to put out like a little I'm watching this now.
Yeah.
I think I saw more people like getting in touch and like firing quotes and gifs at me when I said I was watching Congo than anything else. And I watched it quite late at night, and it was all UK people about like, you know, about like midnight, 1 a.m. on a weeknight going, "Oh, are you watching Congo?"
Just waiting for you to post that. Watching Congo, are you? A lot of people say, "What channel?" Someone said that in the Facebook group. What channel is it on? And I was just like, "Oh, sorry, I'm watching it on DVD." But God, that took me back. You know, when you say, "Watching this," what channel's that on? Get it on. Let's all watch it together. It's on Sky Movie Max.
I don't know why, but I don't remember it. Watching it this time, I was like, "This is way more insane than I ever thought it was." The amount of like ludicrous sort of little plot points, I must have repressed at some point in my life.
This will definitely be the only film that's got a gorilla doing a skydive, a gorilla drinking a martini, and a gorilla smoking a cigar. Does that happen at one point?
Yeah, she has a cigar.
Yeah. And there's laser guns.
And there's laser guns. Yeah, I like
lasers and one Ghostbuster.
And a hippo attack. Yeah. By the way, this is
I forgot about the hippo attack until it happened. I was like, what?
This is Egon's. I can't remember the guy's name. The guy who played Egon. Apparently, this is his favorite role that he's ever had. As is it Captain something?
It's so good. It's Winston though from
Winston. Winston.
Oh yeah, what am I thinking? Yeah.
His name is not Ernie Hudson. That's the name of the guy they meet at the airport.
Captain Monroe Kelly.
Monroe Kelly. He's the coolest dude.
Yeah. I even read that he wanted to bring Captain Monroe Kelly back in like a future role, like I don't know, taking on something else. So he calls himself the Great White Hunter, but he also says who just happens to be black. Does he say anything about actually hunting great white sharks, or? He must have a little bit of experience with that, if that's happened.
And Hudson, if you're listening, if you want to make another Monroe Kelly film today,
75 years old.
I'd take a ticket.
Smashing out everyone's age today, but yeah, he's 75 years old.
Yeah, that's crazy. Who else? So Laura Linney, who I know from the Truman Show, and also other stuff. I'm sure she popped up in a fair few things.
She's in Ozark at the moment, isn't she?
Oh yeah.
Which I've only seen the first 2 seasons.
Actually, and she is not on a fertility clinic banner outside Derby Hospital, even though it looks a bit like her. It's not her.
Is that you, Laura Linney? Tweeting her. Is this you?
Said to my wife, "Oh, is that Laura Linney on that?" She's like, "No, it isn't. It's not."
It might be. Can you prove it's not Laura Linney? That's what I want to know.
Tweet at her, guys.
She might be very fertile, though. I mean,
she's encouraging other people to be more fertile in the advert.
Yeah. That's true.
Who else we got? Dylan Walsh, who's kind of the main character, I guess. The primatologist.
Peter.
I recognize all these people from something or other. I think this guy's in Nip Tuck.
I think he is in Nip Tuck. Yeah, now you say that. Yeah, he is. He's one of the main characters, isn't he, in Nip Tuck? Sean McNamara.
Ernie Hudson, like we said, who doesn't play Egon in Ghostbusters. That's just a momentary brain fart. Grant Heslov. Don't recognize that name. Joe Don Baker.
Joe Don Baker is R.B. Travis. So he's the guy at the. No, he's the businessman, isn't he? He's Charles's father and Karen's boss, and he just wants the diamonds, and he got no interest in seeing if his son's alive or dead.
Yeah, I didn't notice this just at the end of the film, but the company they works for is Travicom, and I was like, just name the company after yourself, you son of a bitch.
You loser.
Tim Curry is in it, obviously.
What a guy.
Chewing the scenery kind of performance.
Yeah, so he's Romanian, a Romanian philanthropist. Mr. Echo is in it as well, isn't he?
Mr. Echo.
Mr. Echo, so Adewale Akinwumi Agbaje. So I recognise him straight away. And Delroy Lindo as well, as like the captain, the one who says, "Stop eating my sesame cake."
My sesame cake.
But I think we all know who the star of the show is, the star of the film. It's the chin himself, Bruce Campbell.
Yeah. Oh. I thought you were going to say Amy.
I thought you were going to say Amy as well. I was like, Amy. Amy, played by Andy Serkis.
Bruce Campbell apparently went for the audition for the role of Dr. Peter Elliott.
Peter Primatologist.
But didn't get it. He got the
He didn't get it.
Charlie. I don't think it would have worked with him playing Peter Elliott.
Yeah, because he's too tough. Like, he'd have fought the gorillas. He wouldn't be
rolling around on the floor.
Breaking it, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so, but I don't know. I think like him being a major character in a big film like this still would be pretty cool.
Did anybody recognise the voices of Gary A. Hecker and Peter Elliott at all? They provided the gorilla vocalizations. I thought I recognised them somewhere in there.
I'm afraid it passed me by.
Hey, that's Gary A. Hecker. That's Gary A. Hecker and Peter Elliott together.
Yeah,
because gorillas are bigger than men, so you need two men's voices to.
Actually, sorry, there's three voices. Frank Welker did the vocal effects of the gorilla, so I guess that's like a that kind of thing. And then Gary A. Hecker and Peter Elliott did the vocalization. Well, I don't understand how that's different.
Frank Welker is like the ubiquitous like voice sounds actor. If you ever play in like the film linking game, I had to ban Frank Welker because my friend Adam would pull him for everything because he's like the voice of Abu the monkey in Aladdin. Like if you look across at like anything that's got like an animal with like little sounds, it's always Frank Welker. He's got like 1 billion IMDb credits.
Yeah. He just does monkeys and parrots and birds and bees and frogs. He's just the voice of a bee.
The man of 1,000 noises.
Oh my god! He does the voice of Anaconda in Anaconda.
Wait, I don't understand. How is he like a bee? What noise does
the noises.
Bee make?
He just does the noises, doesn't he? Yeah.
He
does a bait.
He also does. Snake.
He does the aliens in Independence Day. He does.
Oh
my god! He does Neil the dog in Dunstan Checks In.
But not Dunstan.
No, but he also does animal sounds in Jumanji. Basically, every film we've mentioned so far on this podcast, he has done some sort of sound for something.
How many? If you're looking at his IMDb, how many acting credits does he have?
Oh my god, it goes on forever. Doesn't say any. I mean, I'm on Wikipedia, but. There's a lot of scrolling. There's a lot of scrolling going on. We've just mentioned Dunstan Checks In twice on this podcast. Can we? I mean, if we mention it a third time, that's it. We've got to do an episode on it. That's it.
It's the next episode.
That's it. It's the next episode. That's how the rules work. Them's the rules.
Yeah.
You mentioned it 3 times. It's like Beetlejuice.
It's exactly like that. Yeah. Yeah, so that's everybody. Are we gonna? How does it start?
Well, it starts with Travicom have got a couple of folks.
Section.
Come on, sorry, Andy.
We begin with a little voyage to Africa with Bruce Campbell and his assistant, don't we? But my first note at the beginning of this bit is that we get like a lovely bit of music and like loads of panoramic scenes of like the African landscapes. This was before Peter Jackson whipped out Lord of the Rings. Like, this was New Zealand people creaming their jeans over this stuff. It's a lot of beautiful scenery.
It's lovely. It looks lovely, and the soundtrack's great as well. Like, couldn't ask for more from it. I don't know who done the soundtrack actually. I wouldn't mind.
It was quite nice. Yeah, it was good.
It was nice. Yeah, I liked it.
Music
was Jerry Goldsmith.
Here you go. So Bruce Campbell and a colleague are in the jungle. They're looking for diamonds for their laser guns.
Found them. In the first place they've looked as Laura Linney. 12 volcanoes. First one he's checked, he's got them.
Yeah, they're kind of see-through as well, those diamonds, so it must be difficult to spot.
Yeah, but he spotted them and he's found them, and they've got they're showing on video the little bit of diamond dust, and it's like, but there's big diamonds in there. In fact, Jeffrey's just looking for them. They say goodbye on the phone. And Jeffrey is about 10 meters away, having found the diamonds. Like, he's searching. Where could he be? And he's literally around the corner. He's like, come this way. The diamonds! And he's got them. But then he goes inside this temple to do something. Bruce Campbell, old Charlie, sits outside. And then, very rudely, someone from inside, but he wazzes an eyeball at him while he's enjoying his Hershey's.
Oh yeah, he does wazz an eyeball at him. That's harsh, isn't it?
Yeah. And then we have the shot of the reaction shot of something attacking Bruce Campbell. And Bruce Campbell. If you get Bruce Campbell in your film, you have to have him doing that face at some point in the film.
Yeah.
Mugging it up.
Yeah. And then, so in the Travicom head office, Karen and they don't know what's going on. I think they see some monkeys running across the screen, but they don't quite see it. But they do see a lot of dead bodies.
Yeah, loads of dead bodies, and there's they go to infrared and see some gorillas from the best. Travis here, proving his piece. He's immediately an expert. It looks like a gorilla to me. I was like, all right, telecommunications businessman, you know all about gorillas, do you?
It seems so much effort to call up them back in America. I just think, I'll just go. I'm off on the expedition. I'll tell you all about it when I get back. Whatever happens, don't go for all that. There's so much gear and so many. It's so complicated in order to. I mean, it comes into effect later on as well, doesn't it? Laura Linney.
And are they America? They want to have laser guns. What are they?
Well, the laser is somehow for communications. It's the next thing in. Hang on, what colour's the laser? Is it for reading? Is it for reading Blu-rays? Who knows? But he says, Travis basically says, after the camera gets knocked down and we see those dead bodies, he tells Karen, "You've got to go out and get this and get the diamonds." And she goes, "Not your son?" And he's like, "No, I mean, definitely my son, not the diamonds."
Not at one point does he even try to pretend he cares about his son. I think just, you're kind of manipulating Laura Linney's character in order for her to go as well. So just pretend, come on. Yeah, it can't be that hard. Just pretend you care about your son.
She warns him, though, and says, listen, mate, if I get the slightest inkling that you only care about the diamonds, then I'm going to make you sorry. And you think, as a successful business person that had come this far, CEO of a company named after himself, he could probably remember and retain that small bit of information.
Yeah.
Better not fuck this. But we'll see how he does, shall we?
Should have tested it right away. I'm just going to rescue your son. What's his name again? Chuck. Charles. What? No.
Diamond. No. Shit, no.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But yeah, she agrees that she's gonna have to go, but he sort of says you've got to find an expedition going there and basically take it over, because you're not going to be able to just go out there. We have to go undercover because I guess they don't want other telecommunications people that may be working on lasers of their own that the diamonds are there. So you've got to keep it on the down low and find someone who's incidentally going to the Congo anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous how these sort of missions kind of all intertwine and interlink everyone who happens to want to go to the same part of the Congo, just all at the same time decide, let's all just go together. Let's all just, it's basically like car sharing. That very week, exactly.
Because we see here, I guess at this point we go to the university where Peter and Amy work to begin with, and we see Amy's house, and she's got a computer with Doom on it.
Yeah,
she likes to play.
Yeah,
she likes to smoke cigars and play Doom.
She plays Doom. She also does some painting of the jungle with a.
How does she paints the eyeball that is the temple later on? What was the backstory? She'd been taken from there as a kid, or is that some like gene deep?
Yeah, I guess someone took Amy from there when she was a baby, but somehow didn't discover the exciting temple of the diamonds.
They were just around the corner from it. It was literally just if they just looked sideways a little bit, but they were too focused on Amy. You know, she was already doing sign language then, so they were fascinated.
Maybe they did it, and they did see it, but like they were just people who were really focused on their particular job. And one of the people's like, "There's a lost city of diamonds here." He goes, "No, our job says that we're here to get gorillas."
Can I not just pick up a couple of diamonds? No.
In your contract, where does it say anything about looking for diamonds, mate? You tell me where it is, and we'll take as many as you want. It's not there, is it? So maybe focus on what you're doing.
Stealing gorillas from there.
But, as we see, Amy we're showing off the technology. Peter and his assistant Richard, maybe, are.
He's the expendable one, right?
Yeah, he's the expendable one.
That's Grant Heslov. That's when we were going through the list. Everyone just went, "Who?"
I actually kind of recognize. Now think about him, I kind of recognize him from something.
Yeah,
not too sure what.
A lot of stuff, I think.
But she's got a robot talking glove, and essentially what that is there for is so she is able to communicate with people. It shows the human applications of technology, but Peter also is keen. Yeah.
Apparently it's a real thing.
Yeah, I think they're real things. I imagine it's real now. In 1995, though, that is as crazy as cloning dinosaurs. That you could have a sign language hand that could speak.
When they first introduce it and they sort of show it in front of a crowd, and then a guy in the crowd says, "That's a talking gorilla." It's like, well, it's not, is it?
You just explained, but you're not listening.
Yeah. What was that? They show them testing it on a guy who he's like does sign language, and then he's deaf and dumb, I think. No, he
just can't speak.
Okay, and then he does it, and then he goes. He looks amazed, like this is the first time I've ever heard my voice. He sounds like Amy. Oh, that's not your voice, surely.
That's Amy's voice. And also, is this you're gonna test it for the first time in an auditorium full of people, and you're videoing it? Surely you'd have done it just you and the scientist first.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Quietly at the back on your own.
Yeah. The guy's a scientist, but also a showman. He's like, no, we'll do it live.
We'll do it on the night, mate.
But they don't even know sign language. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Just say it. Just do any old shit. It'll still do it.
Yeah. The guy was just waving his hand, having not known sign language, and he said, "Right, say this." Oh, first verb. That's a good line. Put that in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not all painting and doom for Amy though, because in the first horror moment of the film, we see her have a nightmare, just like Freddy Krueger, famous horror character, would give you. She's having a nightmare about spooky things in the jungle, and she wakes up screaming. She's not having a good time, and the nightmares are getting worse.
Oh, shit!
And coincidentally, yeah, fucking hell. But she is going to need to. Peter realizes. Go back to the jungle, but the head of the university, I imagine, says, people will give you anything. They'll give you anything for that gorilla. It's brilliant, but they won't give you the money to set her free. But someone will. And enter Mr. Homolka.
How How does he get mixed up with all this? He's there watching this. How's he getting about?
Just watching the lecture, I guess, and then just look anything about gorillas in case one of them knows where the city of Zinj is.
Yeah. I've been going around to universities looking for gorillas who might know where the lost city of Zinj. Nothing so far, but these paintings, that's it.
Maybe he saw a picture of the paintings somewhere, and a little mini documentary about Amy, and it's like, because it's the eye, that's how he knows. But apparently this guy wasn't in the book. Apparently he was just thrown into the mix, and he's named after the company that provided the diamonds for the film. I think they were called Herkimer or something like that. They provided the diamonds, so maybe they were like, "We'll give you the diamonds, but can you make a character for it?"
Yeah, it's going to cost you either 20 million in diamonds or...
And we'd like Tim Curry, please.
We've got Tim Curry here ready to go. I can't believe that they were real diamonds. That's pretty mad.
Apparently they lost one as well.
They lost one.
Whilst out of the hot air balloon. We'll come to that.
Because I was on the documentary, the making of documentary, they did actually go to the Congo to film some bits of this. That's dangerous, taking actual diamonds with you. You know, drop it anywhere. Animal could eat it. You could have it stolen from you.
Do you reckon the whole thing, now knowing that it's a character that was inserted from the Diamond Company, do you think when they're having the meetings about the diamonds, one of their executives ate like a shit ton of the director's sesame cake, and that was like a passive-aggressive message? Every time he comes around, he eats some out of cakes, and it's like, oh, right.
The sesame cake moment is so random. I still, every time, it still gets me now. I'm just like, wait a minute. He definitely said, help yourself. Passive aggressive, just a
changeable guy. But yeah, Mr. Homolka turns up and says, "Oh no, I'll pay for you to take Amy to the jungle." And straight away, no more approval is needed. The expedition is put together the next day, it would appear.
Yeah. And isn't there something happens at one point when they're all obviously coming together at the same time. They've all got different goals to go to the same place, which is handy. Homolka wants to go. He's going to fund the expedition, but literally right at the end, he's like, "Can't afford fuel."
Yeah, he's afforded everything apart from petrol, so they're taking all the stuff off the plane. Then it just so happens that's when Karen turns up and says, "Oh, can we get on your plane?" And Peter's like, "Nah. Can't help you, mate, because the gorilla doesn't like you." And Amy's there with her sign language going, "Ugly woman."
Oh, yeah.
Bitch.
Bitch.
Slag.
So jealous. She's like such a diva. Amy is such a diva, and she's so jealous if anyone gets even remotely close to Peter. It's weird because she's got she's a bit like, she mothers him a little bit, but at the same time, she kind of loves him. Is in love with him.
Amy's in love with what's his face?
Yeah, because she gets jealous when anyone gets close to him. But at the same time, she kind of mothers him because obviously she's got a little baby that she keeps going, "Mother, mother," and obviously, not spoiling the ending, but at the end, she gets a chance to do a maternal thing to protect him. Yeah. Don't eat my son.
Spoilers.
I mean, I guess, maybe it's unfair of us. Maybe, in fact, we're the real animals here, pushing human ideologies onto a gorilla. Maybe gorillas can be your mom and fantasy people. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not a primatologist.
There's the whole thing with mothers who call, females that are like their son, whores and hussies. So maybe it's like that kind of energy more than she
doesn't want him for herself. She just doesn't think that Laura Linney is good enough for Peter.
That might be it. And Amy is the ultimate diva. So we've already witnessed all of this.
She's drinking cocktails. What is she drinking? Drinking martini.
Yeah, she wants the green drop drink.
If this was set in 2021, she'd have her own YouTube channel where she just tells it like it is. Okay, and if you don't like it, then you can unsubscribe.
And I think that's the sign. If she does that sign language, that is automatically, obviously, that's not the sign language, but if you don't like it, unsubscribe. But it's coded to the glove to say that.
Yeah. There's a whole thing about how Peter constantly says gorillas don't kill people or aren't aggressive.
Rappers do.
I'm sure I saw a documentary about a gorilla that was kept in captivity. It might have been an orangutan actually, that like literally nearly killed a few people. Like it dragged them across its like the house and bit them, and like
I guess like if a gorilla's been in or a primate's been in captivity, it's probably a different story, isn't it? I guess I don't know how true it is, but
well, this one was in captivity. Whoa,
it was.
Yeah, there's a dog being let out of captivity.
Talking of wild animals.
But yeah, you're right. I think that's the thing about gorillas being in captivity and what that might do to them psychologically. But I guess gorillas probably don't kill a lot of people in the wild, because I guess we don't hang out in the same places normally. Gorillas lived in Birmingham, they might hurt more people.
What about that chimpanzee that ripped that woman's face off?
He'd been in prison as well, though, hadn't he? He'd been locked up and he escaped.
They are pretty terrifying.
I think the thing is, I do really enjoy monkeys. When I go to the zoo, the monkey house is like one of the things that I'm looking forward to the most, because when you see them climbing and jumping around, it looks unnatural. Like the way they swing around, they look like what I imagine Spider-Man would look like in real life. I remember one time there was we were in a monkey house in Twycross Zoo. I think it's in Leicestershire. I can't really remember.
Familiar with Twycross Zoo?
There's a monkey house there, and there's like you go in like a tunnel, and there's like glass windows blocking you from the monkeys. A little smaller monkey, a capuchin style monkey, came up to the window. It looked us dead in the eye, and we were like, "That's really cute." And then without losing eye contact, it pooed into its hand, and then ate the poo. Right, like looking at us the entire time.
And then Luke just felt pressured to do the same. Just to.
I was like, that's amazing.
He's like, no,
that's really amazing.
That's really amazing. That's nature. That's nature at its best. You know, that's the purest form of nature.
We saw it chewing it, licking the bits out of its teeth. It was quite detailed.
Just like eating the food it enjoyed twice. You know, I mean. Don't blame him for that.
Either that, or it was a trick on you, like, and it was like a sleight of hand, like bit of magic. And he had like a chocolate bar, and he was like, "I'm going to try and convince this idiot that poo's delicious."
And it only worked for a couple of weeks.
It's still telling his mates that now. It's still going. This guy, right, who came here years ago, you should have seen him. What a creep.
What a rube.
What a cretin.
Well, what I'm saying is, do you think Amy eats her own poos? Or throws her poos at people?
She might use her poo to make the paintings. We don't know that.
Like that famous...
I mean, she's kind of an exceptional gorilla, right? Because she plays Doom, knows sign language, is a talented painter. Yeah, maybe
But then sometimes she might just want to relax and go, look, I've had enough of all this gaming and painting and stuff.
I just want to throw my shit around.
I guess it depends how many martinis she'd had on any given evening.
A couple of martinis down, shit all over the walls.
But she's very, very cute in this film. She's almost like a Pixar character more than an actual gorilla.
What do you think of the animatronic / suit on Amy for 1995? I think it's bad.
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's cool.
You know, but I mean, of course.
You know it's not real. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want them to use a real gorilla. I think it's cruel. You want a real gorilla stuck in that film.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like the perfect time where it kind of looks all right, because obviously, I guess in the next 5-6 years, CGI would have been probably used for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, there's a period of time.
I'm glad it's practical, because that stuff's all too shiny. Stuff that came out 10 years after this doesn't look as good if they're leaning to CG.
Yeah. So apparently, Frank Marshall wanted to use the same special effects team that did Jurassic Park, but they couldn't computer generate hair. So that's why they couldn't do dinosaurs. They couldn't do anything that was hairy.
That's why they did dinosaurs with no feathers in Jurassic Park.
before Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, when hair was perfected.
Spirits Within, wow.
Every single hair.
Got that on DVD.
Absolutely perfect. Yeah. But Stan Winston still does some stuff in this, doesn't he? I think he did maybe the Grey Gorillas and like some other things. Because I did have a little look into that. And I think it was.
Did he do most of it?
I'm not sure. He was on the documentary I saw. So, and I think it was Universal. Is it Light and Magic? Is that what it's called?
Industrial Light and Magic.
Industrial Light and Magic. That's it. Yeah. They did a lot of the special effects, and because I think a lot of the stuff they did with like lava and volcanoes exploding and that were pretty ahead of their time, or at least not necessarily ahead of their time, but the first time it had been animated like this. Most of the time, apparently, they use smaller like miniatures and colored oatmeal apparently for lava. But now they're gonna go. Nah, we're gonna make it look hot. All right.
It's hot and not real.
Hot and not real.
Bright orange.
The best kind of lava.
But back before we get to the lava, so the guys land in their they land from the flight full of martinis in well, I don't know where they land exactly. Their first stop in Africa, because obviously Congo is one particular bit, and they don't start there.
Do they say Zaire? Maybe they say.
Oh, maybe Zaire, and this is where they meet Eddie Ventura, aka Cypher from The Matrix. Is that what it is?
Oh yeah. That was only someone said, where do I recognize him from? And I said, that's the only thing I could think of is The Matrix. He just loves steak in The Matrix.
Loves a steak. He immediately hates Peter for some reason. He calls him an arsehole the second he meets him.
Yeah, fair enough though. Fair enough.
At this point,
Memento. He's in Memento. Sorry.
Yeah, he is in Memento. Yeah, of course. Yep, he sure is. So pretty much it's all kicking off in Africa, isn't it? So there's like civil war, or like, is it civil war? Just like some sort of uprising.
It's another moment of horror, of course, the horror of political instability. There's an explosion. There is an attempted coup on the president, Eddie mentions, which has been unsuccessful, which in many ways is worse because now the president's kicking off because someone's just tried to coup him.
You tried to do a coup on me. Did you try and do a coup on me? You tried to do a coup on me. I'll do a coup on you right back.
Yeah, I'll coup you. Coup you into next week,
10
mate.
times harder.
So there's lots of explosions going off whilst they're while this is all happening. I keep thinking Amy can't be safe. Surely someone's going to steal her or kill her or something.
She's got actually, I don't think she's got the backpack and the glove thing on at any point around this time, because obviously she would look like some sort of weird cyberpunk gorilla from the future, and someone might try and steal her. But Cypher does say, we'll give you however much money for this gorilla if you want to sell it. How much do they say? Can't remember. 10 grand.
Yeah,
10 grand.
Something like that, yeah.
And he's like, she could play Doom, don't mug me off.
Not just the shareware chapter either, all of them. She's done all three. But this is when they also meet coolest character in the film, I want to say, Munro Kelly.
I mean, definitely, yeah. So he's like their guide, but he's also like just a badass, right?
He's the guy that knows how everything's going. So he immediately hijacks one of the military trucks, sends the guard running away, sends the guard off running, and then he's replaced the team that Peter and his guys have hired. And he said, "Oh, we already got a guide. We hired this guy. He said, oh, he's really nice, but he'll get you killed. So I'm going to take you to the jungle.
Really?
Yeah, if you want to get out alive, if you want to get there and take your gorilla back to safety." At this time, Karen's plans haven't been revealed and where she's going to go, but we know that they are the money behind that.
Yeah. They're the beneficiaries. So they go to like a local militia leader, played by Delroy Lindo, who's going to grant them safe passage into the Congo. And they give him a lot of money. Give him bloody stacks upon stacks.
And he always wants more. more, and but you know what he doesn't want? Does not want Mr. Homolka eating his sesame cake.
Didn't he invite him to eat the cake?
He says,
"Sit down." That was have some. In fact, he's very insistent on that.
I think he just wanted to say, yeah, have some, just to see if he would have the audacity to actually eat some, which he does. And then he's like, stop it. Oh. And then a dog barks at him, right?
Let me continue, and I'm just going to send this dog out.
Yeah. So he says, stop eating my sesame cake, which obviously... But he says it at the time when Tim Curry's already taken a massive bite. So it's awkward for everybody involved, isn't it?
Yeah.
When someone asks you a question when you've taken a massive mouthful of food, and then you go, oh, by the way, have you?
It's the Weatherspoons thing. As soon as they come around to check out how your meal's going, you've got like a face full of burger or something.
Yeah, you haven't eaten anything, and then you take a massive bite, and then they go, oh, so how's your meal? There you go. Do they think I'm not all right? Possibly.
I bet they do it on purpose. I think if I was working there, I would do stuff like that. Try and time it just so. Andy, we're talking about when you're at Weatherspoons and someone asks how your meal was, just as you've got a mouth full of food.
Oh yeah. Or when you're anywhere. Like I think they probably time it. The better the restaurant and the more delicious the food, the better their timing is for asking how your food was.
Mm.
Like, is it true?
Yeah. What I mean.
It's a good tactic.
So he tells Homolka to eat the cake, and then Homolka eats the cake, and he says, "Stop eating the cake."
I think he would have only done it to Homolka because he hates him because he's obviously got a history of coming to Africa looking for the lost city of Zinj, right? So everyone thinks he's a right knobber.
History of coming to Africa and just eating all the sesame cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got no sesame cake left in Africa because of you.
Coming here and eating it all. We've got some for these other guests that have come. Yeah. But
but then it's still like massive loads of danger because they all get on a plane, and then as they're flying over, I guess like somewhere in Congo, bloody people with rocket launchers trying to take them down.
Not only rocket launchers, heat-seeking rocket launchers.
Heat-seeking rocket launchers, yeah.
The horrors of being in an airplane in danger and of armed warfare.
Yeah.
Karen, who has got a background in electronics. She's an electronics expert.
She worked for the
telecommunications.
She used to work for the
CIA.
CIA.
Okay, there we go. All right, let her off then. But anyway, she knows that using a flare to basically...
She's a communications expert. She knows how to speak to homing missiles.
Have this flare instead. It's just as nice. Oh, we'll have that flare. Bang.
That's day one of CIA school, right? They go, right, day one, heat-seeking missiles. You know what's hotter than an aeroplane? Flare.
Flare. Oh, right.
Yeah.
And then obviously they all have to jump out of the plane with parachutes, including Amy, who gets knocked out with a
banana with a tablet popped in.
Banana with a tablet
full of tablets. She's already had some fags at this point though, because Monroe has been given a massive stogies when they're in the van earlier.
How could you explain to a gorilla you don't inhale cigars? Like how could you introduce that concept? Because you're gonna have to start with breathing, lungs, the lung system.
It's like when you tell a baby to blow its nose. Just impossible. They do blow your nose then. That's what they do. They don't know what to do.
She's a very special gorilla though, so
yeah.
Communicate with sign language.
Do
not inhale.
Maybe having completed Doom, she'd also played like Duke Nukem 3D. It feels like smoking cigars are things that he might do.
It was around the time where the pilots have escaped from the plane, and Dr. Peter has to parachute out of the plane with his talking ape. When I was like, this film was way more bonkers than I remember it being.
The pilots have jumped out before he goes, right? So he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to jump out of this plane." He's like, "Oh well, the pilots are gone, so they're trying to be missiled."
I'm just going to stay and see what happens. I'm just going to stay and see what happens. Who jumps out with Amy like strapped to them? It's Captain Monroe, isn't it?
Yeah,
Captain Monroe.
Is she strapped to him? Because initially I was like, he's just holding on to her.
He's just holding her, and then when they've landed, he's like, "Oh, she woke up halfway down, and
start biting him.
And she's biting him, but she's asleep now. So did he get her to eat another drugged banana while she was biting him, or did he knock her out?
The other half in his pocket.
He gave her a swift uppercut in midair. That's how badass he is. Even a moment like that was considered too mental for this film, which is already mental.
Was fighting him as they jumped out of a plane.
Can you imagine
managed to either drug or knock out?
Poor Amy though, like she's literally just eating a banana. Oh, this banana's nice. Next minute, I'm in midair, falling to my death. I don't blame her.
She's probably got a terrible hangover from being drunk on the first plane and then smoking cigars.
She's a party girl.
Before they took off on this plane, they forgot to mention that they had, honestly, probably a better safari than a lot of people pay a lot of money to have. When they first get into the airstrip where they're flying off, there's like giraffes, zebras, a couple of lions just hanging around.
There's a snake as well. There's like a... Oh, and that's a bit later, and there's a snake that attacks.
Yeah, that's when it's a little bit further along here because they land. They have their pop-up tents, which are the height of technology in 1995. They're very impressed with the pop-up tents, even before she whips out the aircon. And then my note here is that a snake gets chopped with a machete, evoking classic horror motifs from Friday the 13th.
He's really reaching. Just before this as well, I think Monroe talks about Tim Curry's character. Says that he's led loads of safaris in search of the lost city of Zinj, and they've all had like disastrous results. He keeps coming back for more. Just loves it.
Yep.
My parents go to Tenerife. Well, they used to go to Tenerife every year. As soon as you find somewhere you like, there's no point in looking further. Just keep going back.
Do you have any suspicions that your parents are actually going to Tenerife over and over again, looking for like a lost city?
The lost city of Zinj. It's in Tenerife. It was in Tenerife all along.
Yeah, maybe. I'll ask them. I'll see what they say.
The bloody grey gorillas are going to kill us. Oh no, it's just elderly holiday makers.
Grey, it's all grey gorillas.
Your mom comes back and said, "Oh, it's good job I packed that communications laser."
They're all in half. Just cut them all in half.
They're all halved. But yes, they're in the jungle now. Peter gets a leech on the dick.
Oh yeah.
There's a little leech on his dick. Yeah, we've all been there. I mean, I haven't, but unfortunate for him.
It's funny because he, what's his name? Captain Moreau gives him a cigar, like a little stogie, to burn it off. And after he's done burning it off, he
gives him back, and he's like,
gives him it back.
Yeah.
Classic.
Also, what's the faces are starting to like each other? Peter and Karen.
I mean, not to gossip, but do they like each other, or do you reckon they're just jolly friends on a little expedition? She's looking for a possible dead boyfriend.
Well, ex-fiance, right?
Okay, that's not too bad then.
Yeah, but well, they do that lingering look camera thing, so I feel like there's
something going on there.
And also,
it was him having a leech on his knob, which brought them together.
Yeah. I think, but even Amy knows, and her mother knows when something's going on. So yeah, and then there's this film just kind of keeps going on. So there was the insurgents, or whatever you want to call them, the rocket launch in the plane, leech on a dick, tribes people don't attack them.
This is when the tribes people turn up, and they invite them to come and say they found a dead white man in the forest, but he's not dead. He's just really stressed out.
Different levels of dead, haven't they? That's what Monroe says. Don't worry, they've got different levels of dead, so he might not actually be dead. He might be asleep.
Not dead. He's alive, but is catatonic, and they're doing like a ceremony to kind of like bring his spirit back to his body. Now, can you imagine if you were a guy been on an expedition to find diamonds. All your mates have been killed by gorillas, and then you pass out, and then you wake up, and loads of people are doing a very well choreographed dance over you. You would.
This is too much.
Lose it.
Pretty much what happens is he goes, you know what? This is all too much for me. I am gonna die.
Yeah, he was on really low health, like 1-2%. Like he's probably like, if
someone had a health pack, it would have been alright.
If I get a little scared now, if I see a gorilla, having already had a bad experience with gorillas in this jungle, it's me done.
Oh yeah, that is pretty much what sends him over the edge. If I see a gorilla with a backpack on, that's it.
Even a different coloured gorilla with a robot arm, then that's it for me. It's curtains. And it is curtains for him. He dies.
Yeah, and then the tribe are like, well, he really is dead now.
He's dead. They ruined it.
We've just brought him back.
Yeah. Yeah. We just saved him. So he dies. And does he give any information?
No, he just says,
gorillas!
Well, okay, so at least they know that. Oh, yeah, because they all turn and look at Amy and go, oh, that was weird.
You. Yeah. Yeah, so he dies of fear, and then we get ready for the Jungle River cruise, and this is where we learn. Actually, we've already seen them do it, but we see their range here. So the mercenary force that Monroe has hired, also talented singers.
Yeah.
So they've already been singing some like local songs they already know.
What is the song they sing?
Then Peter just does a couple of bars of California Dreams, and they pick it up and they run with it.
It sounds good as well.
Yeah.
I
think we don't have enough shanties and things like that. I know it's a big thing on the socials right now, isn't it? With loads of videos of people doing sea shanties, but in Congo they were doing it first. Yeah. I'd like a little adventure with people singing California Dreaming in the jungle. I think it'd be nice.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah. So they once again knock Amy out, pop another banana. I don't know if it's a banana, but then they get into the rafts and go white water rafting. Is that what it's called?
They do a river cruise, head into the deeper part of the
adventure holiday, backpacking, parachuting, rapids.
Yeah, like if it hadn't been for the white gorillas towards the end, what an adventure you'd have to tell about your friends if you go on this little trip.
Yeah, exactly.
You pay good money for this.
Sure would.
Yeah. And where do they end up after the rapids bit?
Well, we have the trip on the rapids, and while we're on the boat, we have another spot of horror where we get the background of Hamulka's life growing up, and he tells of the horrors of growing up under the oppressive regime of the USSR. Now, I can't comprehend how hard that must have been for him, but he did learn from some treasures that he found about a ring that had the symbol of the city of Zinj, and he sort of reveals a little bit more about why he thinks that Amy is the key. But then that discussion is ruined when some rotten old hippos turn up.
Yeah. It's kind of like the inspiration or precursor to a film like Lake Placid, classic horror movie.
Has there ever been a horror
water creatures?
Has there ever been a hippo horror movie?
There must be some hippo horror.
Yeah, I don't know. Hippopotamus.
Horror hippos.
Oh, I don't know. There's all I can see is like fan posters for a Hungry Hippos movie. Jesus Christ.
The first one that came up for me was a big Medium opinion article. Hollywood, it's time to make a hippopotamus horror movie. So maybe there isn't any yet.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. Maybe it's fallen on us guys to make it. Destiny's calling. This is the call to adventure.
If you put like a watermelon in the mouth and they kind of pop it open. You seen that?
Yeah. Impressive.
No.
Someone's dead in there.
I've seen the opposite. There's that nature video about a hippo that had died, and then all those animals that come over to get it. You need the hyenas to get into it for you. It's too tough otherwise.
Oh.
But the hippos are also too tough for this boat trip, and I don't think they kill anyone.
That's a great segue.
But they just I don't think they kill anyone. They just shake them up a bit, don't they? They knock someone into the water maybe, but he gets back in.
Chomp a lot of stuff up, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder why they added that. I don't know if that's in the book. It almost feels like they just added that as just like a little threat. They didn't want to reveal
just for the runtime.
They didn't want to reveal
might have
the
had
big bags.
one lying around. Big puppet hippo.
Yeah, that's true.
You can use...
I got one in my garage. You could just get out for this scene.
Get the hippo. Stick a different head on that one from Ace Ventura 2, the rhino.
Yeah.
Jim's still in there. Can't get him out.
Yeah, you can drive it for us. But yeah, so they get past this one, and then this is where we first meet the good gorillas of the Congo, and Amy tries to go and say hello to them, but she faces the horror of being rejected in a social situation, perhaps the most lonely and afraid anyone could feel. Because they don't want to know about it because she's got a robot arm and speaks English.
They're just like, nah, not for us, sorry.
Yeah, pass.
Yeah. And they're like silverbacks. Is Amy a silverback as well?
Isn't Silverback just like the big boss? Like whoever is the boss of the gorillas, they get
gets a grey back hair.
It's like Gremlins. The boss one has a stripe of white hair. That's how gorillas work as well. It's like Gremlins, where the striped one is the leader. Gorillas, the most powerful one, gets a silverback.
Yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense. Yeah.
But he doesn't want anything of it, so she's kind of rejected, and someone says, "Oh, she doesn't belong in the human world because she's a gorilla. She doesn't belong in the gorilla world because she's a bit robot."
Just take that off. You could take that off. You've got an arm under there. Yeah, but I like it.
One of them is trying to say it in a nice way. She doesn't belong anywhere in a kind of reassuring way. But what they're saying is not reassuring at all. No. She doesn't belong anywhere, mate. What are you going to do?
Belong anywhere. And also, that's quite a hurtful thing to say because it's established she at least has a rudimentary understanding of English. It's the one gorilla in the world you can hurt their feelings by being careless.
My feelings. Yeah.
My feelings.
Also, that's why he went there. So he must be disappointed as well.
Yeah.
Poor Peter.
Fuming. What a long way to go as well. Just be like, oh, for God's sake.
Oh, and meanwhile, he's had a bit of a falling out with Karen because she was radioing Travis, and Amy knocked the innocently while she was just messing about, knocked over their thing. So then Travis is like, oh, fuck's sake, another one of our teams has been eaten by gorillas. So he sends another team, and they get missiled.
He does send another team, doesn't he? That is like, God, that is just madness. He's just sending.
And he sends them like.
Another team. If I just keep sending teams over and over and over again,
the entire telecommunications industry has been killed in the Congo.
Yeah,
decimated.
They're all dead in the Congo. What did you send them there for? Well,
that equipment is made of chocolate or Meccano or something. It collapses as soon as it hits the grass.
What does she do? She go, it's destroyed. It's like, well, it just fell over.
Absolutely destroyed. The problem. This is why my industry needs that. This is why Travicom needs this laser technology because all of our current technology is made out of tissue.
Why does she need to video call? Why does she need to video call them? Surely, if she had some sort of like satellite phone or something, she could have just called them.
They're one of those types. They've got to have the latest phone with the latest resolution camera. They can't just settle. It's always got to be bigger and better.
How much does that equipment cost? Well, a couple of $100,000. Just literally goes like that. It's completely destroyed.
And also, when it looks at it, it's not like it's like snapped in two. So every single component has been separated from the other component. All the wires are separated.
Yeah. And also,
can you not even try and fix it?
I will, I'll own this. Not been to the Congo myself. Been to other jungles in my time though, and I'd hope they're similar. The floor quite soft, not paved.
Yeah.
Oh, this little bit of paving here. The one little bit of paving in the jungle. I've decided.
All of the Congo. That's right. Oh, nice flat surface for my little satellite here. But yeah, it's broken. So I guess this is the whole reason. So the setup is also the solution. So Amy knocks over that one, so he needs to send another plane just so there'll be a cache of equipment for them to get to later, I suppose.
Yeah.
But they reach the camp of Charlie and his team, only to find that all the bodies are gone. So the gorillas have tidied them away.
The gorillas have acted like Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid, but they don't want other people to find the bodies, so they've stored them away in like filing cabinets or lockers or something out the way, so no one finds them.
Well, yeah. The tribe had that one guy. I imagine the tribe maybe just collected the others as well.
Oh, we find them later. We're all right. They have really been tidied.
But why was the other guy so far away from the rest? Why was the other guy so far away from the rest of them? They had to go by boat to get to the camp.
Maybe he almost escaped, but I don't know. Maybe he fell in the river and floated along. A hippo carried him.
Got him. Yeah. So yeah, they find the lost city of Zinj, which isn't that lost at all, really.
Yeah.
It's quite, it's quite in the open. It's not like, I mean, when Charlie and his mate went there, they had to swim under a little waterfall to find it. They just find it like around a corner, like over there.
It's not hidden. It's not hidden. City is lost. It's not where. It's like they thought they knew where it was, but they don't. But yeah, so it's just there.
City of Zinj. I like it in the Wikipedia description. It's just called the City of Zinj. It's not called the Lost City of Zinj at this point because it's found. They got it.
Well, I guess by the time the Wikipedia article was written, after the film been located.
What is the Lost City of Zinj meant to be like? A parallel of there's like a real lost city, right? Wow.
Yeah.
Lost City of Z. Is that it? Lost City of Z.
Is that the real one?
Oh yeah, Lost City of Z. I've heard of that before. I thought that was fictional.
That might be fiction as well.
One-upsmanship. So like everyone talks about, like El Dorado, the lost city of gold. What's better than gold?
Oh yeah.
Diamonds.
Diamonds. What I thought you were gonna say? What's better than gold? Zinj. What is Zinj? Oh, zinc. The Lost City of Zinc. So yeah, they find it.
That made more sense for telecommunications. Probably good for the wiring.
Yeah, come on, Karen.
Forget your diamonds.
Yeah, they find it. They go in. They find like the rest of the bodies, pretty much, don't they?
Before they find the bodies, they find the first clue of Charles, and they find a Hershey's wrapper. Karen's immediately like, oh, yeah. Charles is the only American I know that eats Hershey's chocolate. I better go and find him.
He's got to be. He's littering. Not only is he just coming in nicking diamonds, he's littering in the Lost City of Zinj.
That's why the wedding fell through.
Yeah, just littering.
They were looking at venues, and he dropped a chocolate wrapper, and she was like,
"God's sake, Charles, you bastard!
I'm going to break up with you, but still continue to work for your father.
I'm going to break up with you, but if you're lost in, I don't know, the Congo or somewhere like that, I will come to try and find you. Don't worry."
Lost City of Z, well, it may not be real, but it's, there's a real account of a guy thinking it's real. But it's in Brazil. So same one.
It's not real, but there's an account of a guy thinking it's real. That's good. That's good enough for me,
Yeah.
And while they're in the Lost City, we get the first. Well, we do see it, but we don't see it up close and in detail at this stage because they do that weird thing where everything kind of goes shaky in slow motion, don't they?
Yeah, this is the bit I thought, the bit that goes when they're getting attacked. Because before that, we have a couple of people outside getting attacked. This is where Richard is outside with Claude from Mombasa, and he says, "Oh, what's your name?" That's Claude. "Oh, you're from Mombasa." oh, Claude's an unusual name for someone from Mombasa. And he's like, you've been to Mombasa? And he's like, no. So what the fuck do you know then, mate? And that walks off.
Awkward.
You're thinking, more like bloody Mom Sasa, where you live, isn't it, mate? Yeah.
That's all right. We've only got a couple of minutes left to live because Grey Gorillas turned up.
Yeah, Grey Gorillas turn up, and then we find out they kill Claude in a minute, but they leave Richard again just alive enough. This is a technique they'd already used on this other man. They kill him quite a lot, but leave him with enough being alive left to just run in to the Lost City of Zinj.
Spread the word, essentially.
To scream at all the others and then drop down dead.
The Grey Gorillas work a lot like Batman, where fear is... They want to control people by fear. That's what they're doing. Of course,
because they are, as we learn shortly, they are the guards of the Lost City of Zinj and the Diamonds.
And they live in little caves.
Yeah, so they must, like Batman, have thought that criminals are by their very nature cowardly and superstitious. So just to frighten them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like how they're kind of like silverbacks, but they're silverback fronts, legs, arms, and heads.
They're silver alls.
Silver alls.
The thing is, they don't look as like physically intimidating as perhaps they could. They do look a bit scrawny and sort of manky, mangy.
Yeah, they look a bit mangy.
Yeah, they don't look like they'd have. Like at one point, somebody says, "I never saw a gorilla move like that." I think that was Captain Monroe, and it's like
they're
like all in slow.
Yeah, all in slow motion and slightly wibbly wobbly. Yeah,
doing the robot.
They
like how they live in like beehive type things, like little caves as well, a little village.
Yeah.
Oh wait, so go on. Sorry,
Richard drops down dead. Then they waz Claude's head at them because they've had that away.
Yeah.
And then they do the bit where they move awkwardly, and there's like a little bit of a gunfight. And this is where I mentioned at the top there, I feel like there might exist another cut of this movie where it isn't weirdly done, and that'd maybe bump up your certificate and make it a more violent horror film. Do you think that exists?
So you're saying this isn't a horror film, but there might be a cut somewhere that exists that makes it a horror movie.
Without those slow bits,
Ben, I've told you about the horrors of the USSR. Growing up there would have been hard.
And social awkwardness, I'm remembering it, I'm racking it up.
So many horrors, political unrest.
There's hieroglyphics, right? It's like Egyptian-looking hieroglyphics on the walls. What was the? They were saying,
like, "We are watching you" or something.
Yeah, like whoever the owners were before, were watching the silverbacks.
Whoever the owners were before had like trained some gorillas to like guard somewhere, and then at some point the gorillas had turned on them and gone, "Fuck this, mate." I mean, I'm not getting.
Did they just like is it just that the teachers that trained the gorillas are gone?
Okay, yeah,
maybe the gorillas they've just lived with that as the rules of their society, that you whip people's eyes out and kill them if they come here to the city of Zinj.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough, isn't it? I'm completely on board with that.
Yeah.
So they all make it outside, and then this is where they have the scene from Aliens.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, they stole it. Surely.
Yeah, because this was after Aliens, right?
Yeah.
They set up like a laser grid.
Oh yeah.
A laser grid and motion trackers, and then they can blast away at things.
But again, who had this? This is from her communications company.
This is from the second crew, wasn't it? The ones who got shot out of the sky. They had all that stuff, didn't they? Is that right, Andy?
Or someone did. Either it's in some of their boxes anyway, whether it's the resupply or not. But they've got like.
What you've got to do is just knock it over. If it's anything like the phone thing she was using, just knock it over and it'll crumble to dust.
They waz like a coconut at it or something, knock it over and almost shoot everyone.
Waz a coconut.
Did the coconuts grow in the jungle, or do they waz something at it and knock it over?
Yeah, I mean coconut sounds right. So yeah, this bit feels a bit like unnecessary and over the top, with the shooting lasers and machine guns at the gorillas. The gorillas, they're so smart. They're testing it. They're testing it for weak points.
Yeah, like the raptors.
Just like the Raptors, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of taking bits from other movies and sort of shoving them in. Wait, so they're forced back inside, right, into Zinch again. How did they go back in?
So it's the next morning, basically. They get up in the morning. They've had a night of waiting for all this stuff, and then I think they're just going to go. Does Amy leaves, and she goes, and I think Peter gets up in the morning and goes to have a look, and Amy has made friends with those gorillas. I think, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Amy has gone and made up with the actual gorillas, and they think, right, it's just time to go now. Like, it's morning. The dead gorillas that were machine gunned have been cleaned up because they've tidied up their bodies as well. But they need to find a way to get out of there because everything is fucked and the volcano is rumbly as well. So
there's a volcano as well on top of everything. Yeah.
So they're gonna have to go. Happening. But Homolka is missing, so they run into the area again and they find he's there, absolutely filling his pockets with diamonds.
And they're just like lying around, they're just rude not to take them. They're just all
over the floor for something that those gorillas thought was so bloody precious. They leave them lying about, don't they? Anyone would think they don't even care about them.
Yeah, so rude.
Getting lost, but they do care about them, and the grey gorillas, they rock up in daylight this time as the volcano is beginning to rumble, and they attack. Mr. Homolka gets it first. A gorilla chases after him and gives him a little kidney punch, which takes him down.
Yeah.
And then
he all smash his face with a rock. No, his fists.
They all do big fist punches on his head.
They fist him. They fist him to death. It's horrific.
Yeah. Smash him to custard.
So I guess what we just say, like, this is where it goes into what could potentially be a horror movie because they do look quite terrifying. Their faces are messed up, and they're murdering people. I've
made a note here that says that this film became a horror movie at 1 hour 15 minutes.
Well, it still became a horror movie,
Yeah, that's why it's in brackets. So they beat up Homolka. They're killing the other random characters left, right, and center, but thankfully none of our main three. Our heroes run into like an antechamber, and Laura Linney points out that it's a geode, which is a giant diamond, which I don't think it is. Isn't a geode a totally different thing to a diamond?
Yeah, maybe. It's a big old diamond in a rock, though, isn't it? There we go.
And she tells Monroe to buy them a couple of minutes because she is going to get this laser. And while she's doing that, Monroe is buying himself about a minute, but Peter roly-polies into the middle of the gorillas like an absolute ponce.
Then he get like grabbed and like sort of.
Yeah, they jostle him, they slurp him off, and they're gonna give him and they're gonna give him the same fist punch treatment they gave.
We're
gonna
give you the same fisting we gave to Tim Curry. All right, you wait.
Yeah, we're gonna fist you good and proper, mate. But before they can do that, who should return? But Amy with her robot glove.
Yeah. What did she say? Stinky apes or something like that?
Ugly gorillas.
Fuck you, gorillas.
Gorillas.
Do one.
Yeah. Gorillas. Twat gorillas. Wanker gorillas. And I think Monroe says they don't know what to make of it. So like they're trying to say that the grey gorillas are backing off because they're just like
they're
confused. But at the same time, if they were that vicious, they just go rip her head off. I'll be done.
Well, I guess they're going through their playbook. So when they were trained by King Solomon's boys back in the day, they were like, right, you see a person, you give them the fist in. You see one of the gorillas, because we find the cave, don't we? They've been killing regular gorillas too. It's like if you see them, you kill them, you put their bones here. Didn't cover robots. Robots weren't invented in King Solomon's days. If they meet a robot gorilla that speaks English like a person, like, what plan do I do?
What do we do, mate? I've got no idea.
One of the gorillas, we weren't trained for this, damn it.
Retreat.
But another thing they weren't ready for, so they didn't know anything about robot gorillas that speak English. as we learn shortly, they don't know very much about lava. The third thing they don't know much about dealing with, massive lasers. Because Laura Linney turns up, locked and loaded. She puts this, she finds the laser, I guess, because the pile of dead bodies that have been tidied up are all there, and posed on top of it, holding the laser gun, is their old mate Charles.
Yeah. Kind of looks like Ash when he's possessed.
Yeah.
It's got like a similar kind of appearance.
The sunken neck and stuff. Yeah. So thankfully, though, she grabs his laser, puts a diamond in it, and that gives it the power to mince some apes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd think that they live basically in a volcano, right? Or on a volcano, or near a volcano.
It seems like they live in it. Like
they literally have no idea how lava works. They're like, well, if the lava's there, it looks lovely and warm. Jump into it.
Some of them jump into that boiling tango that is coming through.
We were just like, I've had enough of this shit. I'm sick of it.
Harry's had his arm lasered off. I'm just going to jump in this fire. It is interesting, though, because they do... And again, I've not been close to lava, but if you notice, when the lava gets near them, they kind of catch fire and then fall. I guess you catch fire if you got quite close to lava.
I think that's how it works.
Yeah. I'm not going to test it, though.
Yeah, so they get... I mean, fancy going there at that time when a volcano was just about to go off.
Can you imagine if
terrible bad luck,
Peter and co had, it took them a bit longer to get their visas, so they travelled a week later. They would get there, and that would just be gone.
Yeah.
They'd have had an uneventful trip, dropping Amy off at the jungle. Exactly. They'd never found the city of Zinj. Karen probably would have been like, oh, Charles is probably where that volcano went off, so lost cause, I guess.
Yeah. So they make their way out. They escape. I think they don't lose anyone else. I think we've just got Monroe, Karen, Peter, and Amy now.
Just the four of them left. They almost fall off a cliff, but Amy saves him, and then they laser a tree down for them to run across to escape. A little bit of mild peril to end.
Yeah, very nice.
And then, so all the killer apes are all dead at that point, I think, and Amy decides to live with the normal gorillas, even after seeing all of those killer ones. She still likes gorillas. I don't know. I kind of thought like maybe she wouldn't. Watching it now, I thought maybe she would stay with Peter, but
I'm not messed about the jungle anymore because all the bad apes are dead.
But what about Doom and cigars?
Well, she can maybe take Doom and cigars to those gorillas and teach them.
Yeah, they do say at some point maybe she could teach other gorillas. So maybe when they go back a year or two later,
there'll just be a city there.
Yeah, they'll be in the city of Zinj. They've turned it into like a internet cafe.
The modern city of Zinj. And as you know, Luke, you're a computer guy. You can have Doom running on anything, can't you? I bet it runs on a robot arm.
You can run on anything, mate. You can run on an iPod.
Wasn't it on the news quite recently that someone had Doom running on a pregnancy test?
I don't know, but you can pretty much run it on anything.
That's amazing.
If you've got a MacBook with a new touch bar, I'm pretty sure people have got it working on the touch bar, so you can play Doom on a little sliver of screen.
Amazing.
Yeah. So Amy's arm, even in 1995, I don't think is a big stretch.
Yeah, true.
But she stays in the downed plane. There is a hot air balloon, which Cypher mentioned he couldn't get earlier on, but they managed it in the second shipment. And they are taking the hot air balloon out there. And then who should phone up but our old mate Travis? And can he keep up the facade about caring about his son?
This guy's just addicted to lasers.
Absolutely.
Lasers. Tell me about the lasers. Or just
about the bloody lasers. Got any lasers for me? His son's dead. Did he die by a laser?
Yeah. What about the diamonds? And she points out to him calmly and fairly. Told you, mate. If I had the inclination that you preferred lasers to your son, I was going to make you sorry. And he goes, oh, didn't mean it. He goes, too late. I'm going to put in the phone number of this satellite. Because apparently your phone number is just your coordinates. And then she's going to fire it. And she does it. And she blows up his satellite with his laser.
And he was on that satellite, right? That was his base.
Yeah, so despite, he's double ruined now because he hasn't got his laser, he hasn't got his satellite, which was like their cash cow for now, and his he's lost at least a couple of expeditions worth of people. I guess the only saving grace is that his staff bill might be lower, having lost so many employees, but it's only going to keep him going for a short time.
Yeah.
And then she asks Peter to just waz the diamond out of the hot air balloon, and he does.
This is the diamond that they actually lost, that they couldn't return.
Someone threw it off a hot air balloon.
Yeah, I don't know how that was planned. Like, we'll find it.
Nah, just throw it down into that jungle. Well, we'll get it. It's shiny, isn't it? We'll find it.
Yeah.
They said to Mr. Homolka, the real one who was running the diamond company, "Oh, I haven't lost it. I know where it is."
Yeah.
It's in that jungle.
The last diamond of Zinj. Yeah.
Minge.
Okay, so I've got a game for you guys to play. I couldn't do a name game because Congo is quite difficult. Apart from Umbonga, that's about
the drink.
So I figured what we do instead. I've got some taglines from different monkey movies. So you just have to say what the monkey movie is from the tagline.
If one of them is Dunstan Checks In, then
Patreon episode is go.
Then that is the next episode. Okay, I'm saying that before this round begins.
Okay. All right, number one. Where you are the endangered species.
Thought that was Congo.
Yeah, Congo.
Correct.
Yeah. Get on the endangered species list. That's a laser.
Lasers.
Number two. The world's most aggressive primate just got mad.
Just got mad. Is it Shakma?
Is it Shakma?
Yeah, it is Shakma. Yeah. Number three. We don't belong here.
Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes.
It's not Planet of the Apes, no.
Plapes. We don't belong here. Is it Kong Skull Island?
It is Kong Skull Island. Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Is it called Kong Skull Island?
Yeah. It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Kong,
it's close enough.
Skull Island. It's not the Skull Island that looks like it. Kong Skull Island.
Kong Skull Island. Yes, it's Kong Skull Island. Very nice.
Okay, number four. Most startling picture since the talkies.
King Kong.
King Kong, yeah. In the 30s. Next one. In the land of beauty, wonder, and danger, she would follow a dream, fall in love, and risk her life to save the mountain gorillas from extinction.
Gorillas in the mist.
Gorillas in the mist. Yeah.
There's something in the mist. It's gorillas.
Gorillas.
Here we go. Okay, the next one. 20th Century Fox wants you to go ape.
Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, that's not a very good tagline, I don't think.
No, it's terrible.
20th Century Fox wants me to. What about the fate of the planet?
Next one. Big meets bigger.
Rampage.
Yeah, you're good at these. And the last one.
I googled monkey movies like not so long ago.
It's true. Do I pull the trigger? Okay, the last one. He's about to turn a 5-star hotel into a free service.
Could it be Dunstan Checks In?
It is Dunstan Checks In.
Oh my god.
So I guess
I think we've stretched the confines of Horror Hangout as a podcast by including Congo as an episode. If we include,
I wasn't a second ago saying we're definitely doing Dunstan Checks In as a movie.
Well, he played me. If we do Dunstan Checks In, we may lose all credibility as a horror movie podcast. But
I think if we're gonna do, if the people demand it, get in touch on the socials, and if the people demand it, we'll do it as a special episode on a different.
I want to get a T-shirt for. I want to get Ben to make us some T-shirts that says Dunstan Checks In as a horror movie.
Or if enough of you edit the Wikipedia page to make it stick.
I would like to know if Dunstan Checks In has been mentioned so much on a podcast that isn't about Dunstan Checks In. Because we mention it a lot. Checks In.
There was a period of time when I was in, like, I think year 7 when Dunstan Checks In was at the cinema, where between a group of kids in my form, that was like, if you're calling someone an idiot, all right, Dunstan, checking in, are you?
Jesus.
Harsh.
Absolutely owned.
So we'll see about that. But Ben is definitely doing a solo episode about Dunstan Checks In.
I might have to do. I mean, I'm definitely going to have to watch it, I think, just because, I haven't thought about it so much in so long.
Yeah, okay. You let us know how you find it, I guess.
It was only a year after Congo as well. It was almost like, I mean, what a double bill it would be watching Congo and then Dunstan Checks In.
In many ways, it'll be a good double bill because one is about a gorilla raised in the city going back to the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
Dunstan, a wild animal, moving to a hotel, which everyone knows famously, the opposite of the jungle is a hotel.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember Dunstan Checks In at all. I
remember there's definitely a scene where he's like wearing a fedora or something, and I think he's in a wheelchair.
I don't know.
It's a fedora. Don't remember that.
Yeah.
And you're the expert.
And, what's his name is in it as well?
Dunstan?
Oh God, what's his name?
He's not in it.
What's Pee Wee Herman dude's name?
Is it
Pee Wee Herman? It's just his name, isn't it?
Paul so. Rubens.
Oh, he's actually got a real name.
Paul Rubens is in Dunstan Checks In as like the animal catcher.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, it sounds unmissable, doesn't it?
My Google search just asked if I'm a robot.
Mine's that recently as well.
That's what happens when you start Googling Dunstan Checks In. It goes, hang on a minute, the algorithm's after me again.
Just to round off on trivia, guys, I pulled up how many acting credits Frank Welker, Man of Monkey Noises, has. Do you want to hazard a guess?
Oh, let's say 120.
It's a good guess. Luke, how many acting roles has Frank Welker got on his IMDb?
101.
861 credits.
Jesus Christ in heaven.
He was Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat. He's everyone. He
must be rolling in it. Or is he dead?
Depends on the part and what it calls for.
It doesn't.
Depends on the part, yeah. It's true.
He's Megatron's voice. He's the lot.
Really?
That's cool. Yeah. We need to rate this film.
Oh yeah, forgot about that bit. Are we rating it strictly as a film or as a horror film? I guess we're just rating it as a film, aren't we?
Yeah.
Same thing, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. Well, yeah, I've got a lot of love for this film. It's still fun. No matter how many times I come back to it. And Amy is like, yeah, she's the star of the show. Ernie Hudson's a badass. There are lasers. There's skydiving. Rocket launchers. Tim Curry doing an accent.
Yeah.
Hippos. I mean, the list goes on.
Cake.
Yeah. I'll give it an A.
What?
Yeah. Well, I've marked it on my Letterboxd account. I've given it 7 out of 10, so 3.5 stars. But the more I think about it, like, I always enjoy it. Every time I go back to it, I enjoy it. So, what else can I give it but an A? Anything else would be not fair, right? An A.
So. Yeah. All right. Okay. Fair enough. going with strong A. Andy?
Don't you dare. Let me down.
Also tempted just to blitz across with A's, just like Ben. But yeah, I'll admit, when we watch this, the true horror elements, despite the political unrest and the nightmares in the opening scenes, it probably doesn't venture towards horror until the action really ramps up and gorillas are popping people's eyes out at the end. But like Ben says, I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. I won't go quite as high as Ben because I would just love to see a version without that shaky cam. Really, really go for it. I'm gonna put it out here. You know what? Remake Congo, Hollywood, you cowards. give us the true R-rated Congo experience. That, if anything, this podcast has showed that the people, literally tens of people worldwide, are demanding.
It's a sort of remake boot, halfway between. Have Ernie Hudson come back, Monroe come back as a character who's got to go back there. It's all there. Then you can find not Amy, but Amy's children or something. They're all talking. There's a whole tribe of monkeys doing sign language at them.
Oh, they're the good gorillas that fight against the manky ones.
Yeah.
Anyway, Hollywood, you cowards. I'm still going to give.
Also, there's an expensive diamond out there in that jungle. Go make a film and you might find it.
And you can use it for a laser. Lasers now, twice the size, twice the thickness, got the heft of that laser. Maybe Amy's built it into a glove. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I am still going to give Congo, for how much I unironically love its foolishness and madness, still a B. What a time.
As a horror movie, I wouldn't go anywhere as high as I just did. But as a movie, it's a good time.
Reminded you went A.
That's all right. I'll stick by that. Okay. I'll stick by that. I'm not going back on it.
Cool.
Let's see what disrespect you've got for it.
I think it's going to be A+. So I was tricking you, Ben.
I was. Part of me thinks if I didn't have the nostalgia factor, would this film be any good at all? To someone watching it with fresh eyes, I don't know if it would, but I like it. I watched it so many times, and it doesn't get old. It's nice to put on. It doesn't blow me away.
I put it to you, Luke, that if someone's watching this with fresh eyes and they don't enjoy it, they deserve for a gorilla to pull those eyes out of their head.
Get their head smashed. Get their head smashed off.
Fisted.
You better like this so you get your head smashed off.
Jesus.
Yeah. I was gonna. I mean, I had it a little bit lower than this, but it's fun. I'll give it a C.
Oh, ABC.
ABC.
That's why you were so surprised I went for an A. You
dog.
You dirty dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are we doing next week again?
Dunstan checks in, apparently.
Dunstan checks in. Yeah. I'll get it organised. Get it. Let's see where I can stream it, and then we'll discuss it. Officially on the list for next week, we've got People Under the Stairs. Wes Craven.
Okay. Yeah.
So I've never actually seen it.
Yeah,
I don't think we've got nobody confirmed guest-wise either. Andy, do you want to join us for this one?
Yeah, I'm around. What else am I doing?
We've had so much fun this week. I think it's only fair you come back again because
we'll talk
Dunstan
about a film
checks in,
which is
and if everyone can watch.
horrifying.
How about this then? Watch Dunstan Checks In as well, and then we can discuss that on the podcast. I mean, you don't all have to, but I will.
Should we do it? We'll do it at the end. Therefore, in case it's anyone's first episode, they're not mistaken.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Yeah, and there's a little bonus discussion. Dunstan Checks In.
I guess if you say it in the right tone, it could sound like a horror movie.
Dunstan checks in.
With
never. But will he check out?
Oh, when Dunstan checks in, you might check out.
Oh, I like it.
Fuck you up.
Good time.
Cool. All right. Theo, let's do that. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, you can join our Facebook group, Horror Hangout Board of Advisors, and you can go and say hello to people there. We are people and we are there. Thanks to Kovac Camera for theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Maybe give us a rating or a review in iTunes if you fancy that, if you're so inclined.
Yeah, if you could.
Yes, please. That'd be lovely.
Help more people find this fabulous episode. I think the best way to start a long-term relationship with this podcast. Encourage more of our nonsense, please.
Yeah. If we haven't discussed any certain monkey movies, tell us what your favorite monkey movie is. Tell us if there's another monkey horror movie out there that's worth watching, because I want to know.
If you know about a hippo horror movie, then by all means.
Yeah. Or touch. If not, help us fund the first hippo horror movie.
Yeah, Patreon. It's available. If Patreon, we make have we got a tier on Patreon, Luke, by which we'll make a hippo horror movie?
I'll add one for $1 million. Just a one-off payment. The reward is
you never know.
A Hollywood Stan Winston hippo horror movie.
There might be a philanthropist like Tim Curry lurking around looking for his next opportunity, and he just happens to come across that Patreon.
Yeah. Jason Blum thinks, new podcast. I'll see what it's on about.
You've got to put yourself out there. That's the thing.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thanks to my co-hosts for being right horror dudes.
Thank you very much, Luke. Thank you very much, Andy. It's been a pleasure.
Lovely to see you as always, guys.
Cool. That's fun. All right.
Bye. Until next time.
Bye.